笑い続けていれば、いつか幸せになれると信じてきた。誰かのことを思えば、相手も自分を思ってくれると信じてきた。悲しかった思い出を置き去りにして、少女は明日を見つめようと前を向く。甘えず、頼らず、たった一人で未来を切り開くために。その先にあるものは、幸せか、それとも不幸せか。罪滅ぼし。誰かを愛したかった。でも本当は、誰かに愛されたかった。
はい、いらっしゃいませー!
Hey, Watanagashi. Alright, well, first things first. I think it's that same little girl that we heard before with Rika. Oh boy. Oh, now at the very least we know, like, the one true thing that we know about this person so far is that they are going to be important. They voiced a very important line like that, so surely it's not some random ass girl that just talked with Rika, that's for sure. Like, we clearly established before that there is some connection to Rika there. This child definitely knows about what Rika is going through. We talked about that. It sure feels like this person is gonna be very important. Oh boy. It is Oyashiro, isn't it? That's gonna be Oyashiro. I swear.
特製のフランクフルトはいかがですか？あよ。シロップはイチゴにメロンにブルーハワイがあるよ。
Ichigo.
おみくじたこ焼きいかがですか？あたりにはマスタードがげっしり。
There are great many booths at this year's Watanagashi festival. Anything can become a festival if there are vendors selling food and music for bond dances, I thought. It's still June, but it has been extremely hot the past few days, almost as if it's already summer. When you have June festival with bond dance music under this kind of weather, the only thing that's missing to make it a perfect summer festival is fireworks. Hey, Kumagai. I heard a voice coming from my portable radio. Oh, now we're changing the perspective to Ooishi? My god. With this earphone, it looks a little like I'm secretly listening to the horse races while on duty.
はい、Ooishi です。感度良好。その麦茶、勤務中に飲める麦茶？飲めない麦茶？その麦茶、缶ならもらっといてください。コップなら自体でお願いします。はい、了解です。それと、紹介役員が挨拶に来てます。村長と、あと、園崎家の方からも。お寮のばあさま？やだなあ。大石は巡回中でいつ戻ってくるかわからないとか言ってごまかせません？
What is she mad about?
あのばあさま、死ぬときは絶対脳梗塞ですね。了解了解。すぐに戻ると丁重にですよ。お伝えください。
Oh well. I guess I have to go back and mingle with the locals. Actually, hold on a second. Okay, this is completely irrelevant. Like, I'm thinking of chapter 2 and 5 here, with Shion specifically. Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna think about like the differences between timelines, because this is really the discussion that we should be having like right here. It's a completely separate discussion back to chapter 2 and 5. But bottom line, what I was thinking right now is like the differences that would put someone like Shion in action in the 2nd and the 5th chapter versus right here. Because it makes you question like, okay, there is something that has started a chain reaction when it comes to Shion's action. And one would say, oh, it's because of Satoshi, like last year, which would make Shion like go berserk and kill people like this year. But clearly that's not gonna happen in this chapter, right? So one key difference is that Shion is not gonna be involved in this as much. She's probably not even here at the Watanagashi, and we're gonna cut it at that. Because if we have like Shion at the Sonozaki main house, and she would be interrupting Oreo and Mion just like she did in chapter 5, then we'll be going the same path. So I don't think that's gonna happen this time. Again, I was thinking of the possibility, what if a lot of actions would happen at the same time? Like, imagine if Teppei was still here, he would come back to Hinamizawa and abuse Satoko, and then we would have Shion like start her killing spree, and then we had something else maybe. Imagine like all these things happening at the same time. All of a sudden, a group of kids came running toward me from behind. Ugh! After a quick look at them, I noticed that they were the granddaughter of the old bag and her friends. They occupied the corner of the shooting gallery stall, making a lot of noise. Keiichi with his 3 guns, or was it 2? 2 or 3. Keiichi holding 3 guns like Santorio style. 2 guns in both hands, and 1 gun that he would shoot by using his tongue. Actually, didn't that happen? I feel like it happened. That, or is just a figment of my imagination. It's a thought that I had that makes me think that it actually happened. Because it is possible. Mio Sonozaki, when acting her age, she's a cute normal girl. But do I ever hate it when she acts like a member of the Sonozaki family? She'll be the boss of the Okinomiya Yakuza territory in 10 or 20 years. Just you wait and see. And while I was thinking things like that, I noticed that Mion wasn't the one taking leadership of her group this time. He was the boy. Actually, you know what, now that I think about it, it's kind of wild to think about it, because yeah, we can clearly see like Mion being the head of the Sonozakis, but being the head of the Yakuza? That's a mental image that I have not thought of. I'm definitely gonna have to continue playing Yakuza soon enough. That boy, I know him. He just moved here recently. The boy from the Maebara mansion. Keiichi Maebara-san. I heard that the Maebara family is from the city, and they're supposedly very rich too. But he doesn't flaunt his family's wealth, and he has a good reputation because of that. Even though he just moved here, he's already adjusted to this new school, and he's popular with his classmates too. Everyone in the village seems to like him as well. He's very interesting to watch, as a person of many moods. Boy of his age sure have a lot of energy. Ah, to be young again.
おい、次はレナだぜ。ここでレナはかなり美味しいタイミングだぜ。
大丈夫レナ？具合悪いんじゃないの？
ごめん。ちょっと射的は横で見てたいかな。なら、無理をしないで休んでいるといいのです。では、レナさんを飛ばして、ここでいよいよ真打ち。私の出番でございましてよ。
It looked like only 4 of them were having a good time. The girl called Rena seemed outside of that circle of smiles. Her name is Rena Yugu. What was her real name? I couldn't remember, but I can check when I get back to the station. Rena is only a nickname. I believe she moved here a year before Maebara-kun did. Her mother divorced her father, or something like that. She's a strong girl who does all the housework by herself. She is a very modest girl, I'm told, which is rare in this era. Unlike Maebara-kun, it seems like she hadn't really opened up to her friends just yet. No. It's because of something that happened recently, that's for sure. Ooishi surely would not know. They look like a group of 5, but there's a distance between her and the others. It's a little sad, you know. Maebara-kun has become part of the village, but Rena is still by herself. Well, that's just how it looks to me.
Ooishi 了解。地域のお祭りにまで挨拶に来るなんて、うちの所長は地域交流に豆だな。沖宮の祭りに来たって話は聞いたことないのに。
ああ、こちら高杉です。
高杉。
大石さん聞こえますか？どうぞ。
はいはい、大石です。ただいま全速力で帰還中ですよ。もう1分ほどお待ちを。
If I don't hurry up, even the chief might end up calling me. I ran back to the headquarters tent. Alright. Oh my god. Completely forgot about you, motherfuckers. Hey, what's up? Okay. I'm going through the motion.
おいさん、先生が到着してます。
Irie.
ああ、どうもどうも。どうですか、入江の先生。
Are they... I guess they're gonna inspect, like, Tomitake's body. God damn it. We went through that, like, so fast that we're already going through the same kind of... Ooishi entered the cordon off area. In there, people from forensics were taking pictures of the corpse from various angles. Irie was squatting down next to the dead body of Jiro Tomitake. Sheesh, we're not even gonna talk to like we're going through this again to the point where we just skipped through talking to Mio Takano and Tomitake. We're just gonna find Tomitake's body, like dead body again, and we're gonna at least learn about the death of quote unquote death of Mio Takano again. Yeah, nothing different. Enters the stage, did their thing as usual, exits stage right. Such lovely characters, I guess. When he stood up, he looked pale.
信じられません。
そりゃあ私だって信じられませんよ。初見で見た限り、仏は喉をかきむしっています。
You know, so, like, I am liking this chapter in the sense that things are going quite smoothly and quite fast. And, no, we don't have to go through a lot, and it really feels like a lot has happened, like, really fast. It still feels like I'm barely starting this chapter. Even though it kind of feels like we're halfway through, but not really. But the point is, I'm liking this chapter in how things are moving. But god damn, am I getting miffed that some things just happen like again like this. Like, I want something new going on with Mio Takano and Tomitake.
それも自分の手でです。こいつはまっとうな死に方じゃない。
Alright, same death.
十中八九、何らかのヤバめな薬物でしょう。
彼は何らかの薬物の常習者だったということでしょうか。
さあね。そいつを調べるのはどうやら我々の仕事になりそうです。
Yeah, you know, maybe this time. Okay, I'm not talking about you, Ooishi. I'm more talking about the police in general, more specifically the forensics. maybe you guys can find something a lot better this time around. I gotta know. Maybe you can actually find some drug inside of it, because I know I've talked about plenty about how difficult it is to kind of find like anything inside Tomitake's body. Reason why I went with the sound and the visual kind of theory and all that, but then I went back and thought, okay, it definitely has to be a drug. We've seen and heard about the syringe like a lot, so clearly some drug was put inside Tomitake. But you gotta give me something, Ooishi. Please help me with that.
大石さん、この角材は？
多分仏が振り回したんじゃないかと思います。で、途中で捨てて喉をかくのが楽しくなっちゃったんじゃないかと。
角材を何のために振り回したんでしょう？
自衛のためと考えるのが一番自然だと思います。仏の体に外傷がいくつかあるのに気づいてます？
ええ、打撲傷を思わせる跡がいくつか散見できます。
ってことは一番考えられるストーリーは、仏が祭り終了後沖宮へ帰る途中、ここで何者かに襲われた。それで取り押さえられて怪しげな注射とかそういうのをされて、その結果錯乱させられて死に至らしめられた。
喉をかきむしるように誘導できる薬物なんて聞いたことがありません。
So, I guess to summarize slash retell my theory about that, I already talked about this like during the investigation video, but actually was it the last one or the second to last one? Either way, like my theory is that Tomitake and Mio Takano more than likely went to the hospital. That or Takano already had the drug on her. Well, actually, it could be like two drugs. One would be to put him to sleep, first and foremost. Second would be like the drug that makes him go bonkers. Put him inside the trunk of the car and drove all the way over here and dumped the body. And thus, when Tomitake would wake up, he would just go bonkers, you know.
私もそっちは専門じゃありませんが、薬物中毒の一つに自傷行為ってあるらしいじゃないですか。まあ、その辺はうちの鑑識のじい様が調べてくれるでしょう。
Yeah, please.
おいさん、失礼します。ここから数百メートルのところに富武二郎のものと思われる自転車が見つかりました。
お、そうですか。ありがとうございます。何か手がかりとかは？
いえ、初見では特には。今、鑑識が言っています。
じゃあ、つまりその自転車があった場所が襲撃場所と考えていいんでしょうね。それで戦ったり逃げたりしてここまで来た。
Yeah. Takano put it there as well. I think I remember specifically that in chapter 3, when Keiichi was found by Takano, the bicycle was like in the back of the car. Not in the trunk, but in the back seat of the car. Ooishi frowned, crossing his arms in front of his chest. Irie was looking at the miserable corpse of Tomitake, and he kept saying the same thing over and over.
ありえない。絶対にありえない。
先生、ありえちゃったんだから仕方がないです。発想を柔軟にしましょう。まあ、先生でもこんな死体はなかなか見慣れてるものじゃないか。先生はもう結構ですよ。お帰りになられて十分休んでください。救命活動でお呼びしたはずだったんですが、無駄足になってしまって申し訳ないです。
Ooishi stuck his head out of the blue tent and asks, "Can anybody give him a ride home?" Irie gasped all of a sudden as he turned to Ooishi.
そうだ。高野さんはどうなったんです？
Like, okay. Irie definitely says, impossible. It's impossible. He more than likely thinks what I'm thinking. That a drug that he may know about. Okay, be my own, Irie. That Tomitake was hit with a drug that he knows about. So, he's definitely thinking of Takano, reason why he's even asking here in the first place about her as well. Not just because they were seen together, like during Watanagashi, but Takano is also a nurse at Irie Clinic. You know, it is something that you can easily forget because it's not really discussed a lot that Irie, like Takano is a nurse at the Irie Clinic. Not a lot of references to that.
え？おお宅の看護師さんの？
多分富武さんと一緒だったと思うんです。高野さんは無事なんですか？
先生、彼女の電話番号はわかります？
もちろんです。
熊ちゃん、入江の先生に電話番号を聞いて署から在宅確認を取らせてください。
了解っす。先生、番号。
はい。よろしいですか？
Kuma guy got the phone number from Irie, repeated it back, and then dashed away from the blue tarps.
先生、高野さんと仏は確か親しい仲でしたよね。
ええ。
何かトラブルがあったとか、そういうのは聞いたことがあります？
まさか。聞いたことないです。仲のいい二人でした。
何事もなけりゃいいんですがね。下手すりゃ仏か、それとも星か。なるほど。看護師なら怪しげな薬物を取り扱えてもおかしくはないですよね。
そんな薬品はうちの診療所にはありませんし、あったとしても厳重に保管されています。高野さんに持ち出せるわけがない。
それでも一般人よりは容易でしょ。
I mean, you know, speaking as if I'm Ooishi over here, you know, you could be speaking the truth, but, you know, just to be sure, maybe we can, I don't know, investigate your clinic a little bit, see if you have some drugs that could have been used on Tomitake. Maybe you have some secret, super duper secret place that nobody goes in besides you, Irie.
ですからそもそもそんな薬物は聞いたことがないし、当診療所にも存在しません。
大石さん、留守のようです。署の待機組の方で直接訪問すると言ってます。先生、すみませんが高野さんの住所を教えてください。
熊ちゃん、それプラス県警に今夜出た身元不明の女性死体がないか確認を取ってください。あるいは県外の可能性もあるんだ。課長に近県にも同様に身元不明の女性死体が出ていないか確認を取るよう伝えてください。
了解っす。
高野さんも殺されているということですか？
さてどうでしょうね。まだ外車とも星とも決まったわけじゃありません。もちろん無関係って可能性だって残ってます。明日は月曜だってのも構わず、その辺の飲み屋で飲んだくれてる可能性もありますからね。
信じられない。どうしてこんなことが。
まあ私だって信じられないです。Hinamizawa村連続開始事件、これで5年目ですよ。お社様のたたりが5連続ってことになっちまいます。くそ、なんとか今年で尻尾をつかんでやりたいな。定年前にこの山だけはなんとか片付けたいんです。
Ooishi hates the curse of Oyashiro-sama. He had been leading him around by the nose for 5 consecutive years. I cannot even imagine. The victim of the first year, the manager at the Dan construction site, was his friend. Because, you know, I have been at this story for quite a while, you know, doing my thing, going through these chapters, just doing some investigative work to make sense out of this. Ooishi has went through this like much longer than I, like 5 years at this point. Despite his desire to avenge his friend, the mystery had only deepened. In one case followed another year after year. Ooishi would be retiring next March. As a retiree, he'd be able to ask about the progress of the investigation, but he wouldn't be able to take the initiative anymore. In other words, this year was his last chance for revenge. Would he have put his head in the lion's mouth to capture the culprit? Ooishi quietly clenched his fist. I believe that this maze has an exit. Maze is a very convenient word. A maze always has an exit. You don't call it a maze if it doesn't have one. I know I'm on the right path towards the exit of this maze. I used to miss these minor divergences. But now I don't miss anything. I don't make any mistakes. This time, I could feel a response that was different than all the other times. I'm sure I can finally get to the exit of this maze. But no matter which path I choose to come to this point, Jiro Tomitake always dies. Who's talking here? Okay, hold on a second. As a retiree, he'd be able to ask, well, would he have to put his head? Okay, so first is like the third narration. Before we had like first narration for Ooishi. Then we had like third, like omniscient narration right over here. And then we're back to first person narration. Is this Ooishi? I know I'm on the right path towards the exit of this maze. I used to miss this. Okay, well, from my experience, it really feels like, it's similar fashion to how, okay, like you go through this maze, you go one path, and it's a dead end, / it's a timeline where everybody dies. Okay, let's move a different pathway in the maze then. Another deathly timeline. And we will continue this until we find like the right path towards the exit of the maze, a.k.a. The true good ending / at the very least bittersweet ending and all that. This person right over here is aware of this. Like literally says Jiro Tomitake always dies, so they are aware of other timelines. Which like it brings into discussion the talk that we had at the trash dump, like with the kids, like last time, with Rena, convincing her, like holding hands and all that. Keiichi doing his talk right over there to reach Rena, it was tinged with a little bit of awareness of other chapters. I don't think that Keiichi would have said like anything there, unless he must have been aware of other chapters. But then it's a little bit vague at that point. This right over here? Like, it feels like if this is Ooishi, it feels as if this is the Ooishi of... Imagine if this is the Ooishi of the end of chapter 4. Like, where he was talking to Akasaka in the future and like, let's solve this case. For reals this time, Akasaka. And then they grab their hands like manly, showing their muscles, like that one meme. But yeah, like imagine that's the kind of Ooishi. Jesus Christ. Like, this is fascinating in the sense that with that talk that we had at the trash place, not only do we have like hope for something different happening this time around in this chapter, in the sense that, okay, now the kids are working together, so something different could happen, but also Ooishi out over here, who is more than likely aware, and maybe he's gonna try a little bit more. I don't know. But either way, we are already done with the Watanagashi. Rena had been sick ever since that day, and she hadn't been able to join in on club activities as often since.
まだちょっと風邪っぽいの。そうでございますの。
Like, I'm gonna say this. I get the feeling that now chapter 6 is gonna be... Like, Ryukishi now is gonna be a little bit sneaky with us in the sense that now we are no longer allowed to see Rena's perspective anymore once... ever since our talk at the trash place, at the den construction site. We're not allowed to hear from Rena's perspective anymore. That's because she's thinking something. Which means... oh boy, something's surely gonna happen. This is Higurashi after all, so... something is going on right now in Rena's mind that is completely new, that I myself am not aware of. Something has spawned in Rena's mind ever since that day that may be unpredictable from Keiichi's eyes.
それは残念ですわね。
なあレナ、たまにはパーッとはしゃいでみないか？多分元気に遊べば吹っ飛ばせると思うんだよ俺は。
うんうん、そうだね。それはおじさんも同感だね。
そうかな。かな。
かな。
横になっている方がかえって毒になることもありますです。そうですわよね。病は気からとも言いますですわ。
Everybody has suspected for a while that Rena isn't really sick. At least physically. It's just that many things happened to her at once. She caught a mental cold. That's why I thought she would get better once she played with us, just like we used to. It seemed like Rena was aware of that too. She knew that she had to get out of her state of depression soon. She wanted to get better, and she wanted to have fun again every day.
よし、私も参加する。
Alright.
オッケー。そう来なくちゃね。じゃあ今日はレナの病み上がりも少し加味してテーブルゲームから種目をチョイスしよう。
I mean, let's not forget about the quote-unquote curse, which, you know, even to this point, I still feel like I'm theorizing about the quote-unquote curse/disease, and I'm still thinking that it's something anxiety/stress based. I mean, hell, to the point where Rena would eventually snap and kill Rena and Teppei. That is something to do with a curse. But I'm thinking, like, at the very least I'm thinking... It's kind of hard to figure this out in the sense that, okay, like, a person that is affected by this curse would reach such a high state of, like paranoia and stress, but what if things were to calm down? You would assume that the curse would just fade away, like, over time. Maybe permanently, maybe just dormant? I don't know. But the point is, like, if Rena were to just play with the kids for quite a while, whatever is going on in her mind, whether it's her being depressed, whether it's also because affected by the curse, it would just go away after a while, so... Yeah, the kids are alright. Let's just play some games, goddammit.
何がいいかな、何がいいかな。
Miel started rummaging through her locker, humming to herself. She took one game after another from the locker, and put them aside. That locker definitely didn't obey the laws of physics. The amount of games she took out from the locker was more than what it could physically hold.
お、こんなのもあったね。久しぶりにやってみようか。今日は本格派推理ゲームでいこう。
Detective game.
ほう、なんだよそれ。面白そうだな。
犯人と凶器、犯行現場の3つを当てるゲームなの。
Alright.
結構頭を使うんだよ。
一度やればすぐに覚えてしまいます。ちゃんとメモに整理していけば大丈夫なのです。 情報の整理にはちょっとしたコツがありますのよ。知的な私の最も得意とするジャンルでございますわね。
Alright. The rules don't seem that difficult. In short, it's a game where you sound out the cards of each player holds in order to try and reason out the identity of the cards first drawn out of the deck. There are plenty of games in different formats where you try to identify something hidden in the least number of steps. This one just happens to be a competitive one of those. The key to winning this game would be how well you can organize your information. We usually like to play athletic games so that we can run around a lot. But in our club, you have to be excelled both academically and athletically.
よしよしよし、なんだか面白くなってきやがった。やろうぜやろうぜ。レナ、今日こそ曖昧になってるあの水鉄砲勝負の時の白黒をつけてやる。
Yeah, we still gotta do that.
そうだね。よーし、レナも本気で行くからね。レナが本気なら、僕も本気を出さないといけませんです。ですわね。あの水鉄砲の一件以来、ケイイチさんとレナさんの評価を改めましてよ。容赦なく行かせていただきます
わ。よしよし、盛り上がってきたね。おじさんもこういう暑さを期待してたんだよ。よし、行ってみよう。よし、行くぜ。俺がナイフで書斎はどうだ。
あるよ。レナはね、ケイイチくん毒薬で玄関ホールだよ。私はこれですわね。ミオン、ピストル、ラウンジです
わ。ピストルはあんたが持ってるんでしょ。下手なフェイクは意味ないよ。
犯人と凶器は特定できたと思います。
Okay, so I cannot say that I played this kind of game before, but let me think about this. He did it with a knife in the library. Keiichi did it with poison in the hall. Mion did it with a pistol in the lounge. And Mion says that Satoko is bluffing about a pistol. Maybe it's because Mion has some cards that says that, oh, Satoko no. I guess the point of this game is to find out the person that is lying, because that person that is lying is more than likely the culprit. So Mion says that Satoko is bluffing because Mion more than likely has information about herself. That okay, Mion is not holding doing it with a pistol, but something else. Therefore, it tells her that Satoko lied. Is that how we do this?
犯行現場が2択なのです。はあ、リカちゃんも？私は犯人が2択で特定できない。コツは相手の質問内容からも何かのヒントを得ることですのよ。それが分かれば、時には相手の手札で答えが分かることもありましてよ。
Okay, well, clearly they're speeding through this. We're not gonna be like, I'm not gonna be able to read like everything about this game to the point where I would be involved in this to try and solve it myself. So I guess there's no point.
なるほどな。くそ、甘く見てたか。やべえ、メモがぐちゃぐちゃで意味がわからなくなった。
Like, I was in the mood for that, but apparently not.
メモに書き取るコツが分かれば、このゲームは7割方攻略しても同然だね。ま、7割程度じゃおじさんには勝てないけどさ。
I kinda knew I didn't stand a chance of winning this game, but I gradually started picking it up. Rena seemed to be getting her energy back as she played along. It was the right decision to force her to play with us today. While we were in the middle of the game, Chia-sensei came into the classroom. Hello there, Chia.
楽しそうですね。
My, you look lovely today.
ところで、竜宮さんはいますか？竜宮さんにお客様が来ています。
Everybody looked puzzled. Parents sometimes showed up at the school for some reason, but Chia Sensei never called them visitors. Is it Ooishi? It's rare to have a visitor at school.
なんだろう。ちょっと行ってくるね。みんなは部活続けててね。
When I left the classroom at a run.
どうする？待ってるか？
どれだけかかる用事かわからないからね。
Cause if it's Ooishi, then what would be the key difference that makes her be questioned by Ooishi this time around?
レナもああ言ってたことだし。
Unless you're telling me that they found Rena and Teppei's bodies, or at the very least they're questioning their disappearance. That might be more than likely.
私たちは続けようか。
ああ
Around the entrance, the glaring sun and the cool shade made for a clear contrast. Oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess we're back to Rena's perspective. I was saying that Rikishi may be keeping her perspective all hush-hush for the rest of the chapter, but maybe not. An old man who was holding his jacket on his arm was waiting for me. He looked like he was overheating, and his tie was limp. Hey, let's it's very hot over here. Let's go inside the car, guys. I know you, Ooishi, you have a good AC.
竜宮さんですか。竜宮レイナさん。
Ever since Rena called me Rena, I've hated that name more than ever. Because of that, I didn't have a good first impression of this man.
そうですよ。どちら様ですか？
私の車はエアコンが効いてますから、そっちでお話ししましょう。
Fuck yeah!
ここ暑くありません？
Air conditioning, baby! Oops. I got so excited that I just opened the log by accident. He ignored my question and started walking towards the car parked in front of the school gate. If he wanted to talk about something normal, he would have used the teacher's office. But he wanted to talk in his car instead. I couldn't help but feel suspicious. Why am I getting excited over the AC? I mean, during hot days, an AC is a blessing, so I feel like that's a stupid question. Chia-sensei let him see me, though. That meant he wasn't a suspicious individual as far as she was concerned. Who was he?
取って食いやしません。どうぞどうぞ。
Okay, well, I guess one detail that we can learn from this is that before, like, this Watanagashi, Rena has never interacted with Ooishi. I don't know if that's going to be a very important detail, like, one day. Well, who knows. He called out to me while opening the rear door. Is he a policeman? Actually, let me think about this for a second. Obviously, Ooishi did his research. I mean, Ooishi is the one from who we learned about Rena's, like, entire backstory with the hospital and the school, like even the first chapter. He definitely did his homework. But I guess that's about it. It's not as if Ooishi had like any personal experience with Rena before. Did the police find out that I killed those two? I felt anxious all of a sudden. Was this what they called a voluntary interview? I didn't want to go in that car. But if I rejected his offer, it would all make me look suspicious. I prepared myself and got in. It was really cool inside the car. A car AC must cost a fortune. During those times, definitely. At least, my father's car doesn't have one.
冷えすぎだったら言ってくださいよ。私ガンガンに冷やしちゃうたちですから。
で、私に何の用ですか？
In retaliation, I ignored his question and got to the point like he did. He pulled a small notebook out of his breast pocket and flipped through it. He picked out a photo from him. The photo showed the face of a goofy-looking man.
この男性のことでご存知のことがあったら教えてください。
Tomitake? The man in the picture was expressionless and looked half asleep. Sometimes you can even recognize your own family members in a photo where they don't have an expression. So there's no way I would recognize a person who wasn't related to me. But anyway, that was a bit of a relief. This had nothing to do with Rena or her partner. Okay.
シャツにマジックで落書きがありましてね。リュウさんをはじめクラスメート何人かの署名入りでした。
これ、富武さん？
I don't feel his usual carefree unreliableness from this picture at all. From this half-awake, emotionless face.
では、こちらの女性はわかりますか？
I knew what he was going to show.
ミオさんです。高野ミオさん。
二人に最後に会ったのはいつですか？
綿流しの祭りのお開きになった直後くらいにあったと思います。
何か気になったこととかありませんか？何でも結構です。話してください。
富武さんたちに何かあったんですか？
よっしゃー取った。実はよ、レナとミオンで二択だったんだよな。
じゃあ、博打だったんですの？なんてリスクのあることを。それでも、勝ちは勝ちなのですよ。
お、レナだ。おかえり。ずいぶん時間かかったね。
Mio noticed that Rena had returned. She looked exhausted. I have no idea what she talked about with the visitor, but it was obvious it wasn't something fun.
レナ、大丈夫？何大丈夫って。いや、顔色だよ。青いというか、白いというか。本当に大丈夫？
When I tried to convince her she was fine, but her face clouded over for a moment and she decided to leave early. I shouldn't have forced her to join the game. I was regretting it a little. Rena probably forced herself to play with us, even though she wasn't feeling well at all. Rena put her stuff in her bag, apologized to us for leaving early, and left the classroom. Ah, man.
まあ、仕方ありませんわね。では、せめて私たちの白黒ははっきりさせようじゃございませんの。
I guess so.
そうだね。次は誰の番だっけ？
よっしゃ、リカちゃん来やがれ。
Like, I have to wonder, okay, now Rena's gonna occupy her mind with Mio Takaro and Tomitake's death, which have like zero connection to Rena and the Teppei's death and whatever, like all the stuff that she did in this chapter so far, at least as far as we are aware of. But the point is that people have died during Watanagashi. Maybe Rena has zero connection to Mio Takaro and the Tomitake, but the point is that some people have died. A lot of deaths have happened in Rena's life recently, so that's surely gonna occupy her mind, whether she knew Mio Takaro and Tomitake or not. It's gonna occupy her mind, and who knows, maybe Ooishi did ask Rena about Rena and Teppei, which I kinda doubt it. Like, it doesn't feel like their disappearances would be something that would be noticed by Ooishi at this point. Nobody knows that they're dead up to this point, as far as we are aware. So, I don't think that Ooishi would question Rena about that. But then again, she was the one who was questioned in the first place, so who knows? Let's see. First of all, I wasn't very close to Mio-san. I knew who she was, so I greeted her whenever we happened to pass by. But that was about it. I never really talked to her except for that one time. And that time was only recently. It was between the day of the Watanagashi festival and the day I was caught in the act of burying the two corpses by Keiichi and my other friends. Oh? I had a phone call from the library that evening, and I was told that my father needed to return the book he borrowed. He was shopping at the home improvement store at the time, so I went to the library to return the book for him, and that's where you met Takano. The second time that Mio Takano was there and we met her, first was with Shion, and the second time is this. While I was there, I thought about borrowing some books for myself, and I started walking around the library. I saw her there.
あら、レナちゃんじゃないかしら。こんにちは。
ミオさん、どうもこんにちは。図書館で会うなんて珍しいですね。
そう？私にとってみれば、あなたが図書館にいることの方が珍しいんだけどね。
She smiled in a very attractive and charming way that only mature women can do. Her smile gave no indication that she knew her death was just a few days away. She said that she often met with Tomitake-san at the library. It seemed like she had some time to kill, so she told me she wanted to buy me a drink. I had nothing to do after that. I let her buy me a canned iced milk tea from the vending machine in the library, and we talked for a while. Once I came to think about it, it was a little ironic. She mostly talked about the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, because that's the only thing that she is interested in, I guess. Quite a nutcase for Hinamizawa's history, She had no idea that she was going to be the victim of its 5th year. Or maybe she was.
連続開始事件ですか？
あら、聞いたことくらいあるでしょ？4年前にはダムの現場監督、3年前には北条夫妻、2年前には古出夫妻、そして去年は聡子ちゃんのおばが犠牲になったHinamizawa村連続開始事件よ。それがあと何日かで5年目を迎えるじゃない？
You know, this is a bit interesting, because, okay, we talked about in the last investigation part that there's a possibility that Takano talked to Shion and more than likely gave her, like, the notes, so that maybe Takano would involve Shion in a possible murder spree, and it may have backfired, we don't know yet. But the point is, Takano sure is quite talkative about these mysterious deaths. With Shion, with Keiichi, and here. You would think that someone like Takano, who may be involved in these mysterious deaths, or at the very least her disappearance in this, like the murders of this year, you would think that you keep your mouth shut about talking about these deaths. It kind of makes you look suspicious. Understandably so, because I think you are suspicious as fuck by this point, because of all these talks of mysterious deaths and all that. But why these kids to begin with? Is it because you don't have much else to do, so you decide to just talk about mysterious deaths to some random ass kids that you just keep meeting like every single chapter? You got nothing else to do, eh?
一応私もそういう物騒な名前で呼ばれていることは知ってますけど、でも5年目も起こると決まったわけじゃ。
起こるわよ。絶対にね。2度あることは3度あるってことわざがあるけど、4度あることは5度あるって方がもっと確率は高いとは思わない？
Then again, these kinds of moments happen by happenstance, in the sense that Rena just so happened to go to the library and meet Takano. It's not as if she knew that someone like Rena would go there for her to enact her plan of planting seeds inside Rena or Shion's minds. It just happened to land in her hands that she'll be meeting these girls slash Keiichi, and she would talk about this. But it kind of felt maybe it's like a golden opportunity for her. So in the sense that, there's Rena, there's Shion. She's definitely connected to the Sonozakis. Maybe I can use this to my advantage. Maybe something like that. That's ironic. And also really creepy. But there was always something creepy about her. So maybe she knew that she was going to be killed in a few days, but still managed to make the mysterious smile. This is mysterious destiny in Hinamizawa. Of course, I know about it. I lived here for more than a year. Every year on the day of the Watanagashi festival, one traitor to the village dies mysteriously. It's been that way since the damn conflict. Each case was solved individually, but mysterious incidents still happen every year. It makes me wonder if there's some kind of will to all this. The creepiness and incomprehensibility of it all gave rise to the name Curse of Oyashiro-sama, which fit perfectly. Despite this, I always thought the Curse of Oyashiro-sama was just a series of coincidences. My reason for that is because I strongly believe that Satoshi-kun was the one who murdered his aunt on the 4th year. I don't have any evidence, but I just know it. I know that Satoshi-kun was in a serious predicament last year, and that he had nowhere to turn. He had no one to help him. We had to save Satoko-chan as soon as he could. Satoshi-kun fought it through and made the best choice he could handle the situation. Just like I did when I had my problem with Rena. I hesitated to inform Mio-san that Satoshi-kun was the murderer in the 4th year, so I just listened to her for a while. According to her theory, the series of mysterious deaths isn't just a set of coincidences, but is instead a series of interrelated murder cases. At that point, my theory was completely the opposite of hers, but I decided not to cut in.
ひなみざわのお社様信仰は知ってるわよね。
Takano-san started telling me that Hinamizawa was once called Onigafuji. She also explained the story of how the villagers were in the old days, showing me the scrapbook she was so proud of. The villagers back then were called man-eating demons, but they were also admired as transcendents, enlightened people not bound by earthly desires.
つまりミオさんの説によるならば、連続開始事件はお社様を崇拝する狂信的団体がひなみ沢に潜んでいて、お社様の力を世に示そうとしているということなんですか？
狂信的というか原理主義的というかは紙一重だけどね。明治以降、村の名前がひなみ沢に変わって以来、鬼ヶ淵村が長く続けてきたさまざまな風習が途絶えている。それをよみがえらせ、再び鬼ヶ淵村の名と威風を取り戻そうと思っている人たちがいるんじゃないかしら。
Mio-san's theory was more than a little crazy, but it was also fascinating. At first, her theory had sounded like she was just jumping to conclusions. But after she eagerly showed me the documents that she'd been studying, I started to think that it wasn't actually too far from the truth. If her theory was true, it would mean that the accidental deaths of the Ojo couple in the 2nd year, the suicide and the death by disease of the fruited couple in the 3rd year, and the drug addict that murdered her in the 4th year were all cooked up. It would mean someone who has a lot of power and influence over the police was involved. When I pointed that out, Mio-san nodded in agreement. And she started talking about how strongly they were rooted in the village, and how deeply they were involved with many public organizations. After she finished explaining all that, I finally noticed that Mio-san was suggesting that the 3 families, including the Sonozaki family, were the masterminds behind the murder incidents. In fact, the Sonozaki family really is very powerful. They hold influence not only over Hinamizawa no Kinomiya, but also over the entire Shishibone area. You might not be wrong to say that they even hold influence over the entire prefecture. If the Sonozaki family is behind all this, her fear would be more real. Ah, fuck. Oh boy. Don't tell me. Rena is gonna go now on a path of revenge in similar fashion to Shion. She's gonna start investigating all this and realize that, like, the murders of the past years had something to do with the Sonozakis and possibly, like, the Furudes, and thus she's gonna start suspecting Mion over Satoshi's death, and thus chaos would ensue. That her thoughts from before of how Satoko, Rika, and Mion had done nothing to help Satoshi would be rooted even more in untrust and even hate towards them because of these mysterious deaths that if they did not help with Satoshi, God knows how, like, the other stuff that the other kids may know. Like, Mion especially, in Rena's eyes, would look very suspicious because in her eyes, Mion would surely know a lot more about what is going on behind the scenes with the Sonozakis. So, Rena would suspect Mion the most when it comes to this stuff. And oh boy, imagine. But that means I should be suspicious of Michan. Exactly, that's kind of where this is leading you to. No, I shouldn't. But in fact, Michan was very cold and kind to Satoshi-kun when he was going through a tough time. I know there was conflict between the Sonozaki family and the Hojo family during the Dank Wars. But still, she was very cold to Satoshi-kun. And I'm saying Furude because we know that the Furudes and the Sonozakis were not very fond of the Hojos, so there will be suspicion and like Rena might end up suspecting Rika too. But Michan admitted that what she did was wrong, and I forgave her too. I didn't want to think about that again. I decided to change the subject because I knew it'd make me feel uncomfortable if we kept talking about the Sonozaki family.
そもそも、お社様信仰って一体何なんでしょうね。鬼と人が共存というのも面白い話です。普通の昔話だったら、鬼が来たら退治してやっつけるという風なのに。
そうね。そのあたりがお社様信仰の面白いところね。でも、そもそも神の国から神が漂着してきて崇められるというのは、決して珍しいことではないのよ。漂着神崇拝って言ってね。
Drifted gods.
世界中に海の向こうから、あるいは川上から神が漂着してきて、それを人々が敬ったという類の神話が残されているわ。
それは偉人漂着の話でしょうか。
A god that may have come from a interesting place. Oyashiro. Like, okay, trying to like I'm thinking of the investigation part, thinking that Oyashiro, the child, may have come either from Irie clinic or from some governmental place, you know, the fugitive theory and all that. That's what I'm thinking of right now.
そういう捉え方も一般的ね。古代日本は大陸に比べると様々な文化が遅れていた。だから進んだ文化を持った異国人が漂着した結果、その知識を敬い神と祀ったというのはありえなくもない話よね。
そういえば日本に伝わる赤鬼や青鬼も ナンパして漂着した異国人のことを指すのではないかという説がありましたね。
Like they were red because of all the sunburn that they had.
天狗のいわゆる真っ赤で鼻が異様に高い顔も欧米人を見慣れない古代の人々が作り上げたのかもしれないし。
あら、レナちゃんもなかなか鋭い見方ができるわね。それには私も同感よ。大方の漂着心信仰の原点は私も異人漂着にあると思うわ。でもそうだとすると、鬼ヶ淵村の鬼が現れたとする漂着心信仰にはちょっと不思議な点がある。わかるかしら？
わからないです。
簡単よ。鬼ヶ淵村には海がない。
あ、確かに。
異人漂着なら外の世界とつながる接点が欠かせないはずよ。欧米なら異国に通じる川、日本なら世界に接する海。だから日本における漂着心崇拝もそのほとんどは沿岸部に集中するわね。
鬼ヶ淵村以外に漂着し、そこから旅をしてここまでやってきた可能性はありませんか？
From the shores. You know, I can imagine that Takano would just go, like, to the borders of Japan, which would be, like, in the ocean where it ends. And she would think, where would gods come from? From the shores, that's for sure. From the seas, like, into the distance. And she would see, like, islands in the distance. And she would see one particular island right there. And she's thinking to herself, Rokkenjima.
ところがお社様信仰の決定的なところは、鬼が漂着した場所を鬼ヶ淵沼とはっきり特定している点なの。鬼ヶ淵沼には何も流れ着かない。そんなところになぜどこから漂着したのか。
That is a good point.
実はこの辺にお社様信仰の謎を探る面白さがあるのよ。
And that is true. Like one thing that I can think of, like one of the stories that I've read like a while ago about yokais had something to do with that, about some like I'm forgetting. Should I search right now? Might as well. I'm gonna search right now. I'm gonna cut the the silence over here while at it. Let me see. Yeah, I am forgetting the name right over here, and I can't search it anymore. So I guess we're gonna leave it at that. But like, it has some connection to, like, in similar fashion to mermaids. Like, you know, in like American tales and all that, you'd have like stories of mermaids that would ensnare men on the boats and such. Like, in similar fashion to that, there's like a Japanese equivalent to that I cannot think of the name of it.
お社様の伝説はどの程度知ってるかしら？
学校に置いてある絵本で読んだ程度です。
I feel like I know a lot about it, but I actually don't. I just have an extreme fear of the rule not to leave Hinamizawa. Yeah, like that feels like the extent of Rena's connection to Oyashiro up until this point. Like, like in the previous chapters, it made me feel as if Rena knows quite a bit of Oyashiro. Like, including the history and, like, even, like, the past years, to the point where she would think, oh, fuck, these mysterious deaths that happened because of Oyashiro. If, you better feud Oyashiro. Oyashiro is gonna come after you if you're not gonna behave. But it kind of feels as if up until this point, Rena had a feud of Oyashiro, but it's more so in comparison to, like, leaving Hinamizawa, but that's about it. Now she's gonna start thinking of Oyashiro a little bit more once she learns more about it. After all, my life went wrong after I left. I felt dizzy when I tried to think about it further, so I stopped. When everything went wrong in Ibaraki, I met Oyashiro-sama, and he told me to go back to Hinamizawa. No. No, I'll get dizzy. Don't try to remember. Don't try to remember. I can't remember. I can't remember. I got desperate because I felt responsible for the divorce. I just used Oyashiro-sama as an excuse for my mental instability. And I told my father I wanted to go back to Hinamizawa. Right? But wait. Oyashiro-sama did come to me. Oh no. The colors are too dazzling. I can only remember the vivid color of the pills and the dizziness.
それだけ知ってれば十分よ。
There is definitely some repressed memory there, that's for sure. She tries her best not to think about it.
鬼が淵より鬼が湧き出し、村人を襲った。それを見かねたお社様が降臨して、鬼たちを平服させたわ。鬼たちは地獄を追放され、行き場がないことを嘆き。それで、村人たちは鬼たちを気の毒に思って、村に住まわせてあげようと決めた。そしてお社様は、村人たちの心に感銘を受け、鬼たちに人の姿を与え、村に共存させたという。その血は次第に交わり、村人たちに溶け込んでいった。
So, this is something that was definitely discussed in the previous chapters about the demons who have fought with the villagers a long time ago and have afterwards coexisted. I don't think I've talked much about it, but what I'm gathering out of this is that it kind of feels similar to the three families and such. Because we know that at some point, before the Sonozakis, it was the Furudes who were the big heads of the village before the Sonozakis. And afterwards, after a while, the Furudes have lost their power and only Ariakey is left. But now the Sonozakis are the ones in power. But before it was the Furudes. I wonder if at some point this is equivalent to saying that at some point in the past, the Furudes were more than likely the only family in Hinamizawa. In Onigafuchi at that point. It was named Onigafuchi. But then later, new people have come to the village. And those were the Sonozakis. And they were rivals at first. They were surely not welcomed at that point. But then the leader of the Furudes at that point, who was more than likely seen as Oyashiro, decided, well, you know what? You Sonozakis and Hojos, you are free to live in this village too. Let's make peace. We shall be friendly to the foreigners of this village. And thus, ever since that day, instead of one family, there were three families that have stayed in Hinamizawa. So it could be a reference to that.
そうです。そういう話だったと思います。
I felt dizzy, like I was going to faint, because I touched the one memory I didn't want to.
神話の多くは古代の何らかの事実を原型にしていると言われることが多いんだけど、レナちゃんはこの神話から何を読み取れるかしら？
Well, I did say my piece here, so that might be it. Because I was still feeling dizzy. All I could do was tilt my head quizzically. It seemed like Mio-san was expecting that response. Because she smiled, looking satisfied that she successfully made me confused. Then again, I did say before that maybe Takano is getting her kicks out of this. Maybe she just wants to learn everything about Hinamizawa, and she just loves the voice that comes out of her mouth, to the point where she just flaunts her knowledge in front of people and makes them confused. And it makes her think, I am smarter than all of you, you idiots.
これ、レナちゃんに貸してあげるわ。
Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
ありがとうございます。でも私、
いいのよ。暇な夜長にでも思い出したら読んでくれれば結構。
Now it kind of makes you feel like Takano is using Rena for whatever plans she has.
レナちゃんは鋭いところがあるみたいだから、それを読んだ上で、今度じっくり議論を交わしたいわね。私も、肯定的であれ、敵対的であれ、議論の相手がいなくて寂しいのよ。二郎さん、こういうのにはさっぱり興味のない人だし。
I had no choice but to take the scrapbook. Apparently Mio-san came to the library often, so I figured I could return it to her whenever I came to return my books. However, the day to return the scrapbook to Mio-san never came.
どうしたの？さっきからうつろね。体調悪いの？
あ、ちょっと夏風邪気味ね。まだ病み上がりなんです。
It wasn't the summer cold that was making me feel dizzy. I always get dizzy when I try to remember the time I met Oyashiro-sama in Ibaraki. You know, here's a crazy theory. So you remember that investigation part I talked about the possibility of Oyashiro, the child who had stayed with Eureka in secret, and she's a fugitive and all that, so she stays hidden because of Rika. I'm thinking that Rena did meet Oyashiro, but not a spirit. It could be the child. Oyashiro ran away from whatever institution / place she was kept in. She ran away, and Oyashiro, the child, just so happened to be in Ibaraki. She was running away. She was trying to find a place to hide herself, and by chance, she ended up in Rena's house, and like at night. The child entered Rena's house at night and ended up in Rena's bed, in her bedroom, and Rena was sleeping at that point. And Rena actually woke up for a little bit. She wasn't able to see clearly because it was dark in the room, but she definitely sensed like something there, something spooky. And she was thinking, Oyashiro, maybe that's where she learned. The child in the dark was saying, I am Oyashiro-sama. And then Rena must have freaked out at that point, and that remained with her in her mind for the rest of her life. Now, of course, at that point, Rena might have had like a breakdown, and thus Oyashiro just ran away from the house. She was scared of this weird girl in bed that was screaming at her, and so Oyashiro left and ended up being found by Rika like afterwards, and the rest is history. Imagine if that's the scenario that happened, that had changed Rena and made her freak out about Oyashiro. I mustered all my courage and asked her. My memory of those days in Ibaraki is blurry. I know I met Oyashiro-sama. Nobody believed me, and they told me that it was a hallucination. But I thought Mio-san would listen to me.
Mio-san, 今度は私の話を聞いてもらってもいいですか？
いいわよ。聞いてもらったお返しに、今度は私が聞くわ。
いえ、お社様の話なんです。笑われないかとても不安です。
Yes?
笑わないわよ。あなたも私の話を笑わなかったもの。
Mio-san said in a very gentle and mature way, and that encouraged me. Even so, I still hesitated to talk. But it was probably nobody but Mio-san with whom I could talk about something like this. I gathered my courage again and spoke.
私、お社様に会ったことがあるんです。
Yes?
本当に？
はい。私、小学校に上がる前までは、Hinamizawaに住んでいたんです。それが、母の仕事の関係で、茨城に引っ越したんです。この意味はわかりますよね。
わかるわよ。Hinamizawaを離れてはならないという、お社様の禁忌に触れた、ということね。
そうです。それで、いろいろ悪いことが起こって、 母が離婚し、私も自暴自棄になって悪いことをしたりしました。
辛いこともあったのね。それで？
世の中の何もかもが嫌になって、自分以外の幸せな人たち全部が私を見下しているように感じた最後の頃、不思議な存在が現れるようになったんです。
それがお社様？
初めて現れたのは内緒ですよ。
Yes?
全部嫌になって自分を壊してしまいたいと思って、体に刃物を突きつけたことがあったんです。その時、首をカミソリで切りつけたら、血に混じってブクブクと汚らしい何かが溢れ出したんです。それは、
Something very dirty and gross came out with the blood from the wound?
バカにしないわよ。続けて。
The chill I felt at the time came back to me. I sealed that memory away, so that I wouldn't have to remember ever again. But once I unsealed it, I started remembering things one after another. Yes, back then, there was something in the blood. Something crawling.
赤黒い無数のウジ虫だったんです。それらは首から血がこぼれるのと一緒にわらわらと湧き出してきました。しかもそいつらは外へ溢れまいと傷口から再び中へ戻っていこうとわらわらうごめいていたんです。私、そんな気持ち悪いのに体内に戻られたくなくって。でもそれ以上は痛くて血まみれになるばかりで、それで私は急に怖くなりました。私の体の中には血管いっぱいにあの気持ち悪いウジ虫がぎっしり詰まっているんじゃないかって。それで私は試しにカミソリでももの血管を開いてみました。そこならよく見えると思ったから。そしたら溢れてきたんです。とばっとわらわらと。
I understand, Yugo-san. So please, calm down.
分かってないってば。そのウジ虫たちは血と一緒にドバッと溢れ出すけど、すぐに元の血管の中に戻ろうとする。それがとてもか
ゆいんです。Please bring a doctor. No. Don't claw it at her like that. Bring me a sedative. Hurry. Hold her down.
私の血管の中のウジ虫をやっつけて、血を全部抜いてきれいにして。私の血管にはウジ虫がいっぱい詰まってるの。どうして信じないの？見せてあげるから。見れば信じるでしょ。注射は嫌。
落ち着いて。
Nyo-san sat next to me and held my hands tightly. Her touch brought me back to reality.
それでどうしたの？
そんな誰も私のことを信じてくれないときに、お社様が。
He. The memory was very vague, and I saw flickering lights. It made it difficult for me to remember. I met Oyashiro-sama. That sentence is all I remembered.